Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back. Big surprise. You thought I'd never be back, but here we are with another episode of the No Place Podcast, and we have a very special guest, somebody who has seen the dark side of Japan and is here to tell you about that story. Welcome, Famicom Marc.
Hey guys, what's up?
So you're a Twitch streamer, streaming retro games, Famicom Marc on Twitch, as well as a podcaster doing the Sonic Historian podcast. Check that out if you're interested in Sonic the Hedgehog. And I found out about Marc years ago, I think probably 5 years ago, or even earlier than that, 6 years ago maybe, through a YouTuber named TKO Sam, who I used to listen to back before I moved to Japan. And I was working in this office, which is a funny story in and of itself, because a friend of mine worked at that office, and it was just like a management office for like a family-owned apartment block in Boston. And we were just helping them manage these apartments, and they just needed people they trusted because we were handling a lot of money and stuff like that. So I was a really bad worker, and I was basically doing nothing all day. And I would just take walks around Boston and like read books, and I just had a wonderful time. But anyway, so I was working in that office, and while I was doing nothing, I would often be listening to various things. I would be listening to TKO Sam talking about Japan, because I was just thinking about, hey, I want to move to Japan, right? So I'd spend a lot of time sitting there listening to his stuff, and he would bring up Marc. And I think 4 years ago, something happened, which was just the most insane story, and I couldn't believe it. It made me want to get out of this country, and I'm actually shocked that you stayed in Japan after this whole ordeal was finished, because I think if I were you, I would have said, fuck this country, fuck this shit, all this bullshit they put me through. I think I would have went back to America. That's just me. But anyway, so what happened, Marc?
Well, yeah, as you implied, some rather unfortunate events happened to me back. This took place around the fall of 2018. It is a bit of a long setup to this story, but to try to make it a little bit more concise, I had a friend who he had been living in Korea for a while, and he was living and working in Korea, and he would make routine trips to visit Japan. He had a Japanese girlfriend, so it was not uncommon for him to come to Tokyo and stay here in a hostel or stay with a friend, or if he had the money, a hotel, and then later travel around and say hello to friends and his girlfriend. And
He didn't stay with his girlfriend?
No, because I think she lived actually out further up north.
Oh, okay.
And so she was actually not in Tokyo, if I'm correct.
Interesting.
But I mean, of course, he would want to like be here and kind of have some fun.
Yeah.
It's his vacation, so. So occasionally I would see him and I'd say hi, and I wouldn't say that we were really particularly the best of friends, or that I knew so much about his personal background or lifestyle, but someone you get beers with every so often.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, in this country, when you live for long enough, you don't really feel so fearful. You're very safe, unless you're being pestered by some people down in the back streets of like Kabukicho. I mean, for the most part, you feel pretty safe and trusting of most individuals.
Unless you're involved in the underground scenes, the nightlife, the Urashakai.
Well, I mean, even that, I mean, come on. Even that, I mean, come on. But I guess, I mean, coming from a background, let's say, like America or like North America, like in big cities, in comparison, I mean, there's not really a fear of like violence or armed robbery or anything like that, for many obvious reasons. But I think the one thing that many people are always afraid of is essentially like what we call contraband, like illegal substances. So in Japan, there's a complete zero tolerance law against even marijuana. I mean, if you have any kind of possession, or if they can prove that there is an intention behind said possession of even like a 0.1 gram of marijuana, you could be looking at actual prison time.
Yeah.
which I think a lot of people are very fearful. So you quite literally keep your nose and your mouth clean.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though because I'm sure you also know people who still smoke it, but it's very common for people to smoke it anyway, and I'm
mm,
kind of amazed at how they do that, the lengths they go to smoke pot. Is it that good? Like, I've tried it and I'm not the biggest fan. I'm fine with having a beer, you know. I don't need to
sure.
risk my neck just to puff some grass, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that is that goes more into what the technical terms of what the law considers to be. Um, what am I trying to say? I mean, that goes down into a more precise analysis of the law. So, what will get you in trouble?
Mhm.
Just smoking something will not get you in trouble.
Oh, really?
Actually, no. But if you're in your house, doing whatever you want in your house, I mean, it's very unless there's already some kind of warrant out for you. I mean, nobody can bust through your door. And
Well, of course, not in your house, but you're not going to smoke pot in your house. Probably you're gonna be outside somewhere, right? You're gonna be in an alleyway at least.
now that's unsafe. But anyway, I'm sorry. On with my story, we're getting sidetracked here. So I
That's
had
all
a
right.
friend who he basically came to visit one time, and he said, I kind of actually need a place to stay for like a week because my plans, basically my reservation at this like place I was going to stay kind of fell through. Do you mind if I stay at your place for like a couple days to like a week? We'll see. I'll get out of your hair as soon as possible. And I said, all right, yeah. And so he was here actually. So I'd go to work and he would just be here, or I mean, he would. But basically this is his place to crash
Yeah,
for a little while during his vacation.
that's
So
very
of
nice
course
of you, by the way.
we had some fun. We watched we watched some anime. We went and got some dinner,
Yeah.
and then when it was time for him to take off and continue on his trip, he said, "Hey, I've got a friend in the States who while I'm traveling around, he wants to send me a package in the mail that um, I don't really know what to do in regards to that. But I mean, since I'm gonna be traveling around, can I use your address for you to receive it, and then when I come back to Tokyo, I can get it from you?" And I said, "Yeah, that's okay. However, I mean, first of all, what are the contents of the package?"
So you asked him what was in the
Yeah, of
package,
course I
huh?
did. And then I also had to make, I mean, not that I actually really suspected that he was going to do anything wrong,
Yeah.
but these kind of mistakes do happen, though. I mean, like, well, let's be honest. I mean, certain things that are legal in any country can be illegal in Japan.
Yeah.
This includes things like certain kinds of over-the-counter medication.
Like
Like
Adderall.
Adderall, for one, is a very illegal here. It's
Hmm.
essentially considered like methamphetamine. Uh,
It essentially is
TXM, like cough
methamphetamine.
syrup, is not sold here. Like the robo tripping stuff, and it actually is not sold here.
Yeah.
Uh, the list is a bit sparse, but I don't know what. However, I said you need to tell me exactly what's going to be in there, and
Hmm.
he said, "Oh, it's going to be some records and some souvenirs." And he said, "Of course, nothing like drug related over the counter like that." And I said, "All right, that's cool." And honestly, my mother, my family have sent me things overseas. I mean, probably the same as you.
Hmm.
And if something needs to be taken out of the package by customs, then actually you'll be informed ahead of
Yeah.
time. So they'll actually say, "Are you okay with us disposing of this?" Or they'll just get rid of it themselves.
Yeah.
And then in the corner of your package it says that it was checked by customs, and therefore anything that could have potentially has been hazardous to the country has been taken. And so,
Yeah.
okay, therefore, if the package wasn't safe, I wouldn't receive it.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I've never
essentially,
been inspected from Japanese end, but one time the U.S. Customs, when I was coming back to Japan, opened up my luggage,
mm,
and there was a little thing there that they opened it and they looked through it, which is kind of messed up because, and I didn't have a lock on the suitcase, but if I did, like they'd have to break the lock, right? That's not cool. because then somebody could open it up and take my stuff. I don't lock my suitcase anyway, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, all I had in there was a ton of cheese. And because the cheese is very expensive in Japan, and it's just difficult to find good cheese for a reasonable price. So whenever I go back to America, I bring back a bunch of cheese, and I wrap it in a bunch of plastic wrap to keep it fresh, kind of like to insulate it, right? So I guess it makes sense from the customs end. They put it through the X-ray, and they saw a bunch of just like blocks that were hyper wrapped in plastic wrap, and I guess that's how people hide drugs. So they busted open my bag, and they just found like 5 pounds of cheese.
You really like cheese?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
But anyway, so yeah, that definitely happens.
It does happen. Well, the one thing that got removed repeatedly from my from any kind of packages my mother sent me, where it would always be beef jerky, and that was really sad.
Really? That's weird.
No, they said it's something to do with like some kind of like illness involving like I guess cow disease or swine flu or something like caused meats to be removed from my package.
They're pretty chill though when you actually go through the airport with the stuff. Like when you go through customs in Narita, there's a guy with a sign. He's just holding up a sign that says no food or whatever, and then he just asks you. He says, "Do you have food?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Okay," and I just keep walking.
Yeah, well, it was like that has happened to me. I'm not joking. I actually forgot that like I put like some I think I put like some habanero peppers in my suitcase. Like when I went to visit like Texas, I got a bunch of like hot peppers, and I just like without thinking I put them in a little bag, and I put them in the suitcase. I just kind of forgot, and then I said I don't have any food. But then later I was like, oh wait, I do. But yeah, well. Anyway, so to resume the story, I'm sorry, audience, we're having tangents here, but
you don't got to apologize. This is a tangential experience.
Yeah. But you know, it ended up. I did end up receiving the package. I actually was not home when I was at work when they tried to deliver it, so I actually had to go to the post office with the slip, and I picked it up, and later, after I see the package, I said, "Well, I have your package now, just let you know." And curiously enough, like yes, it had that sticker in the corner saying it was inspected by customs, and that made me feel secure that, well, if there was anything actually wrong with it, well, I would be protected in the sense that, well, any kind of dangerous material has been thoroughly checked by customs, and I wouldn't receive it if it was an unsafe package.
Yep.
That's my mentality as a long-term resident here. And then later, my friend did come by, and I gave him his package, which I didn't open.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, nothing happened after that. And I heard from him a couple times asking me if I wanted to hang out or go out to get like some drinks or something, but I unfortunately had been busy.
Wow. Okay. Weird.
Occasions. So I didn't actually see him for like after I received the package. I didn't actually see him anymore. However, to add on to a bit of this story, which I kind of left out, is that he had another friend here. He met like some Mexican guy who didn't speak any English, so I don't really know who he was or what his background was, but I would later find out. I'll get into more detail later, but I would later find out that actually this person that he was associated with was essentially under the radar of Japanese police and like maybe international police, like Interpol. And he had attempted to do some level of drug smuggling in different countries, and so this sort of situation got set up by him. And I actually was not the only person which my friend had attempted to obtain an address from.
Oh,
He'd essentially just said the same sort of friendly story to, I think, about maybe 10 other people.
so he was a drug smuggler, this guy. The Korean guy. Or the guy in Korea.
His name is, I don't know if I should say his name, but anyway, it's
Probably first name's okay if it's
yeah,
like
first name's okay. Then
yeah.
his name is Sergio, and the guy above him was named Edgar, and I don't know who Edgar is, but Edgar apparently was telling Sergio, you need to get more of your friends' addresses, and
Wow.
if you essentially feed them a convincing story, you and I can make a lot of money. And that is about the extent that I know of what happened. And in the long run, my actual knowledge of, like, there was more people that got arrested. There was more people probably involved in this, but I'll never know.
Yeah, but that's
But
insane then. That's even crazier that you were sent to jail if it was this bigger thing. 'Cause I thought it was just like one guy who wanted to get high and
apparently
like got you screwed over.
I received a lot of, like, the case files that actually things that happened to me that coincided with Sergio. I received those case files, so I got to see that yes, he actually had been talking to maybe up to like about 10 people,
Yeah.
10 other friends or acquaintances in Japan, and essentially feeding them the same story. Like, can I use your address to receive a package?
So assuming that those other 10 people went through what you went through, they just put 10 people in solitary confinement with no
No,
evidence that they
not
were.
potentially, but I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think that I don't think that all of them were arrested. I think they were definitely interrogated or questioned. Uh, the main reason that I got arrested
Mm-hmm.
is, I received this package, and then, I received maybe the package in the beginning of October 2018.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, maybe closer to Halloween to that 2018, like pretty much a month later, is when policemen show up at my door
Wow.
and say that we have a warrant out for your arrest because you violated the customs law by essentially accepting contraband.
Wow.
And the charge essentially is, we think that you knew what was in the package when you received it. And the idea
Yeah.
is that if, as we said earlier, the consumption of drugs or whatever, if you smoke weed at a party, whatever, I mean, like, that's surprisingly, there's nothing wrong with that. However, if they can prove some kind of possession of it and intention of doing something with it, then that's when they can charge you with something serious. And so, of course, my justification here is like, well, wait a minute, like, it was inspected by customs.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't open it,
Mm-hmm.
but I was inspected by customs. I received several things in mail by customs. So,
So that's weird that they waited that long before they said anything about it or before they notified
they
you.
waited that long because they actually, in the case files I received, that they were following Edgar and Sergio to see what they would do with the said package.
Could you say that last
To
sentence
see,
again? I didn't hear it. It got like
I'm sorry,
glitched out.
they were following not me, but Edgar and Sergio, my friend who I gave the package to.
Yeah.
They were following them to see what they would do with the
Okay.
said contents of the package. And
So they were actually tailing them?
What?
They were like tailing them? Like
Yeah.
like physically? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so apparently I had been tailed for a little while as well. They had footage of me. They had footage or photos of me playing video games. and
Yeah.
my daily otaku lifestyle. Yeah.
So they saw you going to work, coming home, playing video games, and they thought, yeah, we gotta arrest this guy.
Well, no, I mean the big thing here was me going to the post office and receiving the package.
Yeah.
And then they had reason to believe that I was in this.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in this kind of big sort of drug smuggling activity. And
Yeah. Okay. They thought you were more important in the chain than you were.
but I mean, upon I mean, upon looking into me, and I mean, they took photos of my room here. They took photos of like my Evangelion figures, and they did a pretty extensive little background check on me, and I don't know. You find that I used to write, I don't know, video game articles for hardcoregamer.com, or I don't know, anime reviews.
Yeah.
But there's no real complete case here, so there's nothing of substance here. Like, what is the motivation behind this? I was already working. I already have money, so
Yeah. And for people who don't know, I think we should probably explain that Japan's criminal justice system is probably, I think, the worst thing about this country. And while in America you're innocent until proven guilty, in Japan you're basically guilty until you're proven innocent. So if you're accused of anything in this country, there's like a 99% conviction rate. Correct me if I'm wrong, but basically that means you're going to go to jail, you're going to do some time until you can actually prove that you're innocent. So tons of people go to jail for misunderstandings, and tons of people end up in situations like this. So when you're in Japan, you got to be extra careful to be crispy clean so you don't run in with the law.
well, there's a lot of truth to what you said, but it's a little bit more. It's a little bit different. I mean,
Right.
if you get arrested for something in Japan, it doesn't have to be the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you get indicted, as in the prosecutor actually does want to take you to court, that's when things get quite serious and very tiresome.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I had a coworker before who got into a bar fight, and then because he worked at an English school, the owner of the English school went directly to the place where he was being held, and then got him out right away. So I guess your connections also matter.
Well, no, I mean, there's a lot of situations which would maybe like a bar brawl, or I don't know, some sort of minor theft or something. There's a lot of situations where I don't think a prosecutor or a police investigator is really going to give a shit.
Okay.
It'll actually just come off as like a complete waste of time after a few days of kind of like looking, maybe talking to you or rereading the report of what happened. They'll be like, "This is a complete waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
Okay.
not worth it." And so technically, they have basically a few days. I think about 3 to 5 days to basically make a decision. Like, are we going to like continue to interrogate him?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, if they make a decision to continue the interrogation process, then they can hold you for about for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they have to make a further decision after enough interrogating. Have we gathered or created enough evidence to indict him? Do we have a firm prosecution here? Do we let him go, or do we keep trying? Do we rearrest him? They can change the wording around of what you did to then rearrest you, and then continue the interrogation process.
So for a different crime, basically.
Maybe it's something slightly different, yes.
Yeah.
And so, when you're initially arrested, you're placed in essentially the same equivalent of what would happen, say, in Europe or America. You get placed in a small cell with other people who are whatever, everyone maybe fucks up, and everyone's there. And in the process of sitting there, you get informed why you're arrested. You meet a judge, a prosecutor, and a police detective. Mm-hmm. And then essentially they question you, they determine, what is the problem. And then after you give a statement, of course, I would recommend you in any circumstance, because
keep your mouth shut.
Unlike America, you actually don't get access to a lawyer in the same room as you when you're being talked to.
Oh wow.
You don't, and in fact, you probably will not, unless you've memorized your lawyer's phone number, or what. There's no contact to the outside world. You don't get a phone call.
Wow.
The only way you're able to contact the outside world is through a lawyer. But again, unless you already have your lawyer on quite literally and his number memorized in your head, or you got he got his Meishi like in your back pocket,
Yeah.
get arrested, you can't contact anybody. So the first thing that happens is you're immediately interrogated without any legal representation next to you.
That's so insanely stressful. That's so crazy.
And it might be a few days until they send you a court-appointed lawyer, because I mean, who else do you have on hand?
Yeah.
Who then gives you a chance to talk to the outside world. But that might not be until the third day, and by then it might be too late. And what I mean by that is these interrogations that you'll go through with a police detective or a prosecutor at the end of his first 2 days can be very dangerous because the way the way the legal system works in Japan is and the reason they do obtain 99.9 conviction rate is by essentially forcing confessions. It might not really sound like something so easy to do or whatnot, but believe me, the idea is, it sounds completely counterproductive to people who already hate policemen, but you want to make an argument like, why was I arrested, or what am I doing here? And of course they'll try the whole different sort of angles to ask you different questions to get you to say things. Other times they'll be aggressive, or the whole time you'll be just stuck in this room with quite literally your neck wrapped around a chain that's basically since been bolted to the floor.
Your neck?
They have the neck chain, and they have,
holy crap!
And they have this, so you can't move from your chair.
They have a neck chain?
They have a neck chain. Yeah.
That is fucking disgusting. They don't even do that in America.
They also will tie prisoners together to pull you together, like in a line.
Dude, a neck chain during the interrogation? That is so dehumanizing. That's insane. They treat you like a fucking dog, and they haven't proven done anything yet.
And then they have the two police goons, the two pigs behind you, just like breathing down your neck.
Jesus Christ!
While the prosecutor just looks at you and just kind of smiles. So anyway, you go there and you can keep your mouth shut, or you can tell your story. Honestly,
so hold on, is this all in Japanese? Is your Japanese good enough that you were able to like understand everything and you were able to, all that?
All right. Well, I had wanted a professional interpreter. However, the person they gave me, I went through maybe 3 different interpreters because although I do think my Japanese is good at that time, due to obvious anxiety, and I didn't want to make any mistakes. Of course. However,
the stakes are high.
However, the interpreters that they give you, it's debatable how good they are, for one. And on the other hand, one interpreter that I was given, I'm actually still quite angry about it, but he was not on my side, let's put it that way. He was not on my side.
Oh, wow.
He would essentially butt in with his own 2 cents. He would interrupt me when I'm speaking. He would interrupt.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. And he would say, "You're changing your story," or like, "I don't believe you," or he would say shit like that.
No way.
And that's craziness.
It's insane. His job is just to translate what you're saying, or like interpret what they're saying to you. Yeah.
Give his own opinion about it.
Yeah, he's a middleman. And that's all he's supposed to be.
Tell me about his life, and at that time, I'm actually still pretty angry about it at him, that particular person.
Yeah, that's insane.
He told me enough about himself that I actually know who he is. I have his personal information, but I've never contacted him, or I've been tempted to send him a nasty thing on Twitter, but
I feel like this guy needs some punishment for his deeds. He deserves to have something.
Yeah, I mean, me too. A person like that may have in the past actually screwed over other people that were less aware of.
Yeah, maybe I should fly to Tokyo. We can confront this guy together.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy.
So there was another interpreter who was a I don't actually know what country he was from, but I don't actually think he was a native English speaker or a native Japanese speaker. So
did you request another interpreter after the first guy was screwing you over, or did they just happen to give you another one? Like,
they
the
just
next
happened
day?
to give me one.
Okay.
And then,
Huh.
I expressed my frustration, but there was a point in time when there was an interpreter who I was given. He was not a native English speaker or native Japanese speaker.
Yeah.
And I would say something, I would hear him translate it, and I would say, I didn't say that.
Wow.
That's not what I said. Like how am I? And I was like, I would tell him, I would just say, like, you have to leave the room, just get out of the room.
Yeah.
I don't need you here. You're gonna make this worse.
That's ridiculous, man.
So it's very ridiculous. And then there's just there's things that just get misconstrued in communication to begin with.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I mean, who knows what they're trying to pull on you anyway. So to elaborate on that a little bit further to your audience is that the reason why Japan has a 99.9 conviction rate is that, again, as we said, it's this level of confessions. And so you'll be placed in the room. Yeah, you might have your chain around your neck. You're definitely going to have your hands handcuffed to a chair or a desk. You're going to have probably 3 or 4 policemen breathing down your neck behind you while the prosecutor looks at you behind his desk while smiling and mocking you. And you'll be asked to tell your story, or maybe multiple times, multiple versions of it, for hours on end. At the end of it all, they'll write a report of what happened, and then they'll say, "All right, well, if this is true, please sign to verify it."
Wow.
And now, signing the paper though is no benefit to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no matter what they say, I mean, if it's their argument is, well, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, if it's true, why don't you sign it? I mean, if you're telling the truth, why don't you sign it?
Yeah.
But there's no benefit of you actually signing said papers.
Because you don't know exactly what they wrote in there anyway. Like, you know.
Well,
are you going to analyze it?
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
no, I'm just saying, like, are you going to analyze their report on the spot and just make sure it's exactly what happened before you sign it, or I don't know. It just seems loose.
Yes, but to be more technical about it, I mean, you're not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you're not the one that wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecutor wrote it. The prosecutor wrote it, probably putting in things that he knows that maybe he can use later. The whole reason you sign such a report is so that they can use it against you later in court.
Yeah.
So if they do skim through anything else you sign, they're going to say, okay, we can get him on this, we can get him on this, because he already confessed to this. He did say this. He did.
So did you realize that at the time, so you didn't sign it?
I signed the first paper.
Oh, okay.
And that's what actually ridiculously led to a 6 months of solitary confinement and a trial.
Jesus Christ.
But
just because you signed their fucking paper?
However, it was a gigantic mistake on their part as well, because unfortunately, like, the lawyer I worked with was actually surprised that it was actually taken to court, because I'll elaborate on a bit further, but I guess a very overzealous person or a very overzealous prosecutor can think they have something, as minor as it might be. But
he also could have been.
It could happen to you, yes.
He could have been having a fucking argument with his wife the night before. Like, you don't know what these fucking people are up to. They're just people. So he's taking that on you. Like, there's a story about. Do you know who Tim Rogers is?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he had his whole life together. He was engaged, and he had a apartment. He was working for Sony. He was he was developing video games, and he had a nice apartment. Like, he was doing very well in Japan, and the person handling his visa just decided to deny him that day for no real reason. Like, he clearly was working full time, was a productive member of society, and that just like threw off the entire trajectory of his life. So one fucking asshole in a position of power can really screw you over. And that's disgusting. That's so fucked up, man. That pisses me off just listening to this. I can't imagine being in that situation. 6 months of solitary confinement for fucking nothing.
So, to elaborate on, sorry, I keep using to elaborate on too much. But yes, to elaborate, by signing one of those papers, I mean, that's how this keeps going. And so, there is no tangible evidence other than saying, oh, I must have known what it was when I had it in my hand. That's what the charge is.
I mean, they don't have like logs of conversations or like you being in on it or knowing. Yeah, they don't know anything.
So how do we prove? How do we prove that he knew? How do we do that? How do we?
Yeah.
Even though it's completely like intangible, how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do this by getting him to say it, and that is what a lot of successes in the courtroom for prosecutors is based on. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times there actually is not a very not a very good police investigation. And mind you, I do think that the gathering of physical evidence is respectful because it speaks for itself. However, the prosecutor's job is to keep you talking and eventually get something out of you, to essentially create the evidence. So on top of whatever kind of physical thing they can gather, which may not be anything, a confession, even from a Western standpoint, is very hard to argue against.
Mm-hmm.
You said this, so therefore it's true, right?
Yeah, and that's why they give
these
you
are your
the
own
shitty
words, right?
That's why they give you the shitty interpreters.
These are your own words, so you already said it. You admitted it.
Yeah.
Of course, why would I do that? Why would you do that?
With the chain around your neck and the officers breathing down your throat, and
and there is no plea deals in Japan. There is no deal. There is no reason to confess.
Yeah.
There is nothing you should be confessing to. There's no bargain. There's no plea bargain.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So there's no reason anybody should be doing this, but they do. And I think that, yes, it comes down to psychological torture. I signed that first paper. After that, I did finally meet legal counsel, and they said, do not say anything ever again. And I didn't. And this greatly frustrated them, both police investigators and the prosecutor.
It's insane, though, that they really want you to be guilty. Like, they want to make you guilty even if you seem innocent. It's kind of crazy how they just have it in their heads that you're at fault.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes me feel bad as well, in the sense that, I mean, I think that there are some situations that are pretty cut and dry, like we said earlier, a bar brawl or a minor theft. I think those can easily just be written off as drunken behavior or an honest mistake. However, I think my case is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, I guess we can make the I'm a foreigner. That's what I mean. I don't honestly don't think that that's the reason, but I know the rest of you do. But being an American, I'm up to something.
I do think that's part of it, though, because
I think everyone's going to say that. I personally don't think it is, but.
But do you think you would have had the same treatment if you were like a Japanese salaryman working for, I don't know, just a random Japanese company?
I don't know, but I mean,
just seems
on the other hand,
yeah,
we can still make the argument here that they saw my apartment. They were following me for a while. They knew my lifestyle, quite literally going to the game center and playing Street Fighter for an hour a day and playing Legend of Zelda at my house and going to anime karaoke bars and they saw me doing that. I mean, they knew enough about me.
Yeah.
And wanted to essentially force the connection that, well, we obviously don't have enough tangible evidence to make any kind of proof of this, but we can get him to say it, or we can trick him to say it.
And that's the sick thing is like, do they get a bonus for convicting people? Like, what is the incentive for them? Like, why are they trying to take this like?
Well, you know how prosecutors work. I mean, you want to keep up the 99.9%. I mean, if somebody loses, imagine that when they actually, and they did lose. So
yeah,
I mean, imagine
they lost, but they stole fucking 6 months out of your life, and then they caused a whole bunch of other mental damage, and like. You still lost. I mean, you won, but you lost. Like, you lost because
I lost. I mean, no amount of money you pay me can repay me. Or, no amount of money you reward me with can repay me for those 6 months of my life. True.
Yeah. And did you actually get rewarded with something?
Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
We'll just say that. Yeah. Now I don't have any more student loans. Everything's gone. All debt I once had has been wiped out.
All right, so at least that's good, but still, like you said earlier, 6 months out of your life.
So
super fucked up.
I was after about 20, like quite literally about 21 days of being held in a cell, and
that's with other people, right?
Yeah, with other people, and going through other interrogations for hours on end. They then essentially said they had to make a decision that, well, are we going to indict him or are we going to release him? We're going to rearrest him. And so, as I said, then I was thankfully given back. I was given back all the items that I had checked in. I was given back my bag, my shoes, my clothes,
and your phone.
And my yes, I was given back everything.
So then that's how I found out about it, probably.
And then
you started talking to.
And
friends.
I was leaving the facility. I was leaving,
and
then immediately I get surrounded by policemen again, and they say, "Sorry, Mark, you need to go back inside now."
Oh wow!
And then I went back inside, and they say, "It is now this time. You've just been rearrested."
Really? Just like that?
Just like that, yes.
These people are fucking retarded, man. This country is fucking retarded.
So,
this country.
I think that's really cruel.
Jesus
I think it is a psychological game. I think that it's you're led to believe that you're allowed to leave, and yeah, yes, for the most part, yes, you are allowed to leave for all 10 seconds, but then you're rearrested.
Yeah, but also that's because of the rules. You know how the rules work. It's like they have to do that. It's not just to mess with you. That's the way the rules are written, right?
Sure, but I do think that I do think that these people, especially the prosecutor. At the time, his name was Hasegawa Kaoru, so fuck you, Hasegawa.
Yeah, fuck
you, dude. Well, it's fine. I fucked up your career, so I'm sorry. Don't worry about that. Sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. But no, I do think there's a level of delight. I think that in order to be one of these people, to do this to another human being. Especially when there's this lack of certainty.
Mm-hmm.
He's
the criminal. He's the criminal.
How do you do this to another person actively, without actually knowing who they are?
Yep.
On any kind of personal level, or even getting to try to do that.
Yeah.
And all you care about is trying to essentially ruin a person's life out of what could essentially just be hearsay and maybe someone who's a victim of circumstance.
Yep.
No, this actually makes me a lot more angry in the sense that there is no sort of backing of justice behind it. It's just kind of a game that we're playing with people. It's a job that they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong behind it. It's just kind of like, well, I'm very happy that we have you here to play with us.
Yeah, they're doing like a fucking poker hand.
Yeah, and so
they're trying to bluff you. They're trying to
exciting strategic game for them to play.
Yeah,
that's what it is, and it happens to be placing value in a human life. So this made me really understand the law a lot more, and pretty much completely lose respect for prosecutors.
Of course.
Policemen, it's sort of a different story for me. I still think that actually the gathering of physical evidence is a very different situation. However,
I think with policemen it depends on the area, because depending on where you are,
investigation. Right?
No, the area of like which part of town you're in. The
Oh,
police offices in like Kabukicho, for example, are very tied in with the Yakuza. So if there is something bad that happens and you go to the police with the information, they're like, for example, back to Tim Rogers, he told a story where he was walking through Kabukicho. He saw a dude bleeding out on a bench, like from his head.
yeah.
So he
I think I
ran
heard
to
this
the
story.
Oh yeah, but he ran to the nearest Koban, the police box, and he told them, he was like, "Hey, there's a guy bleeding out there. There's a guy bleeding out there." And then they asked him if he has ID on him. He presented it to them. They took his ID and his phone, and they told him to wait in a room, and they locked him in the room. And then he was like, he needed to piss, so he was like banging on the door, banging on the door. Nobody would open it for him, so he like pissed his pants. And
Eh,
then and then after like 3 or 4 hours, they let him out. They didn't say anything about it, and then they gave him back his ID and his phone, and then he walked past that bench again, and the guy was just gone, and the bloodstains were cleaned off. So I feel like people think Japan is a really safe country, right? And it has this reputation. When we talked about it, it is a pretty safe country, more or less. But at the same time, I think there's a huge underground crime network that is so ingrained in the country. It kind of helped build the country in a sense. If you look at Hiroshima, for example, the history of the city of Hiroshima is Yakuza gangs, because after the war, there was nothing there. There was a power vacuum. You had all of these gangs moving into the city, and that's who had the money. Those are the people who built the businesses. Those are the people who rebuilt the city, basically. And you see that all over Japan, where the Yakuza crime families are actually tied in with the government, even still to this day, and they're tied to the police. So yeah, depends on the area. In certain areas, the cops are basically mobsters. That's all I'm saying.
um, well, that was a lot to take in, but uh, so my story goes forward in that yeah, eventually I was indicted.
Mhm.
And this was surprising on my lawyer's end in that what I was indicted for. This will probably make you even more angry now, but that that first report that I signed, that the prosecutor wrote, it said essentially, it said that I had when I received the package, I I had they said it said that I had some suspicions that it was stimulant drugs in the package. However, when I saw that it had been checked by customs, my suspicions went away. But then in little like kind of like fine print or kind of edited was, but not completely. And actually, this was thankfully recorded. A video of it was recorded of me saying this, but
Mhm.
I actually did not say that. I said actually what I just told you. I said that if I had any suspicion, it was actually that there could have been something in the package that was legal in America but illegal in Japan. This
Mhm.
includes over-the-counter drugs or marijuana.
Mhm.
Um, that's what I said. And then,
Yeah,
however,
but that also just goes with your story. That doesn't contradict anything. Like, if you
however,
knew what was in the package, you'd know what was in the package. You wouldn't have to have a suspicion.
but well, exactly. But so that was me what I said on the video. But what was written on the paper and edited was that they wrote stimulant drugs, which basically means meth. So
Yeah.
the content of the package initially, until they removed it at customs, was actually crystal meth.
Hmm.
And I did not say that. I didn't even know the word for it.
And hold on. So if they removed it at customs, and then you gave the package to your friend who received it, does that mean they put it back in the package to catch him, or it wasn't there?
It's place of assault.
Okay, so then they didn't notice that it was missing. Okay.
So said friends Edgar and Sergio. I guess they didn't know.
So they
So
sold
so what
salt to somebody.
so
All
what
right.
actually what actually was in the package apparently was some kind of lamp. It was actually some kind of I forgot what it looked like, but it was like some kind of lamp that actually yes was like an American lamp, and
Mhm.
with some fancy light bulbs, like some kind of like desk lamp,
Yeah.
uh, or desk lamp or heating lamp, and they had essentially just shoved drugs inside of the lamp itself and inside the light bulbs, and then customs, of course, they're going to find that. They take it and they
Yeah.
just with salt, and I mean
Wow.
that's it. But and so then they want, and the idea is they wanted to see what they would do with said substances.
Yeah, of course, so they can
Yeah, but
implicate more people.
I
Yeah.
didn't open it. I didn't know. However, they're trying to prove that I knew, so they changed the wording. So instead of what I just told you, they claim that I said stimulants, as in
Hmm.
I had a little suspicion that it was meth. That's what they said,
Yeah.
and they changed the wording on me, and that's
And
what
it
they said.
was meth, so it makes it sound like you're admitting that you knew what was in the package. Okay.
Sure, sure. And then they said, okay, well that's enough to take it to court. So they said we're going to take this to court
So they misconstrued what you said, which was on video,
on video. Yes,
and decided that was enough to try to take you down.
yes, they did.
Famicom Mark, we gotta bring this guy in.
And so
These fucking people, man. That is. Oh my god, dude. This makes me wanna move back to America.
no.
I'm not-
I never considered that. No way.
Really?
No, I never considered that. But anyway,
Wow.
I ended up getting a really great because I had been working with with the court appointed lawyer up to this point who didn't even believe me either.
Holy
So
shit.
even the court appointed lawyer I had been working with, he just had his doubts. He just said like, "You must have known. You must have known." And I'm like, and
What
so
the
like
fuck?
I was just surrounded with all these people that just thought I was a bad guy, and it's just it fucks you a lot mentally.
Well,
Honestly,
yeah.
like the nicest people that I met during this whole ordeal were uh, there was one guy. There was two guys I had to share a cell with, and one guy was this homeless man who he had got arrested intentionally, so that because he was mentally ill, so he got arrested intentionally to get like the particular drugs that he needed.
Hmm.
Yeah, like bipolar disorder.
Wow.
And then it essentially worked out, and they determined that yeah, like he was homeless. He got arrested because he didn't have his medicine, and he was then essentially then he had a good lawyer who found him a job and a place to live, and he got released and got to start his life over. So that's a nice story.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool.
So and he was very nice to me that whole time. He was very comforting to me when I was very sad or upset, and we
Hmm.
talk about video games and comics and at one point I think we made like a pen and paper RPG in the cell, and we played like I made my own like game we played. It was cool.
That's pretty sick.
So a nice guy. I don't have a way of ever contacting him, but if you're out there, his name was Ishige. So,
Wow.
and then there was there was a Yakuza guy, like this old school, like mid-50s Yakuza guy missing a pinky,
Wow.
and he had some scars on him. He's like, yeah, that's a katana, that's a bullet wound. I'm like, okay.
No way.
And he said that he actually was very nice, and then he like we were there, and like for he would say, hey man, why don't we order like some good food? So you could actually order like you could eat the regular like shitty food they have there, or they had like a luxury menu where you could order like I don't know, like some nice stir fry or like some pork cutlet or katsu.
Oh, okay.
So we'd say, hey man, like, you want some food? Let me order you some food. Or he'd be like, hey, what you want some porn mags? I'm gonna order some porn mags. You want some? Like, okay, and he would just order And then, and he said like, oh, you know, he said I've been through prison like fucking 3 times. He said, and I was like, wow. He said, yeah, so now you've been indicted, and I guess you're on the way. Here's what you need. You need to give this list of stuff to your lawyer.
Oh, wow,
This is
okay.
to make your time in solitary confinement a lot easier. And so he gave me this is basically shopping list to give to my lawyer, and then he was right. Then
It's also super fucked up that they put you in solitary. Isn't that reserved in America? It's reserved for more serious cases, or first you go into a regular cell, and then if you misbehave or whatever, then they'll put you in solitary, right? It's like you don't just go straight to solitary. No?
you go after you're indicted, you go straight to solitary. Yes.
No, I mean in America you wouldn't, right?
No, you wouldn't. I don't think you would.
Yeah. So that's kind
No,
of
I mean,
insane.
but you see that in America you wouldn't be in the situation. This is what my lawyer, Mr. Takano Takashi, he calls hostage justice. So I mean, even in very high profile cases, like say for example Michael Jackson, when he was accused of like molesting a number of young boys on his Neverland Ranch, he got even upon being arrested, he gets bail almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
Now, bail does exist in this country. I did eventually get bail, but it took 6 months.
Wow.
And at that, it very rarely happens. I mean, even Mr. Carlos Ghosn, who was arrested, you know, the ex-CEO of Nissan, Mr. Carlos Ghosn was in the same position I was. Even though
he has to escape in a box. Yeah.
They place you essentially in a box. And you're just forced to be there. I think the interpretation is that they don't want any outside influence whatsoever on the case. So essentially, you're just forced to talk to nobody and be alone.
Well, it seems like one of the worst forms of human torture. Yeah, solitary confinement. It's actually more fucked up than people think it is, I think.
I think this is terrible in the sense that I mean that's a day-to-day situation where I literally don't talk to anybody. Maybe except my lawyer, who might visit once or twice a week, but I was just in a room sitting there, doodling in a notebook, or I got to read manga or magazines, but
okay, at least you had manga.
But when you're there by yourself for like 6 months, I mean, let alone 1 month, I mean, you start tripping out, and you just start having these little adventures in your head. I got to the point where, like, when I would be in bed, when I'd be sleeping at night, that would be the most vivid images I would get. Like, every night would be a lucid dream or something new.
Because your brain just wants to escape, huh? You just want to get
I would
be
existing outside, or I would always know I was dreaming because then I'd be outside the cell.
Yeah.
Where I dreamed. And so the dreams are the most vivid things ever back then.
Wow.
And then there isn't much exercise to be done. I gained a lot of weight because you get about 30 minutes of exercise a week, and so you get there's 50 minutes where there's 50 minutes twice per week where they'll take you up to the rooftop in essentially an outdoor cell, still by yourself.
Wow.
And maybe it's about the size of like a bathroom cubicle. I mean, like, what can you do in there, Sue?
It's just crazy how they treat you, and they didn't prove that you did anything wrong.
So that's what we call hostage justice, and that like I was punished. You're right in the sense that I was punished for. Actually, wait, what was I punished for?
Yeah.
Why don't I have to go through that?
Yeah. You shouldn't have to go through any of that at all. It's even from the beginning when they put a fucking chain around your neck. You shouldn't have to do that either. Like the handcuffs, all right, whatever. That's one thing, but around your fucking neck, and then solitary confinement. It's like every step of the way they treat you as badly as possible.
So my lawyer actually said that another thing that my lawyer told me was that she had a particular client. I don't know how he is, where he is now, but she had a particular client who got arrested, and the potential charge that was against him, if proven guilty, I guess he would have landed in jail for, I don't know, maybe about 6 months, but he had been in solitary confinement and holding for 1.5 years.
Holy shit.
Just because the prosecutor kept delaying the trial, or probably intentionally.
Yeah.
And so
Out of spite or whatever the hell.
so it's
These
like,
people are sick.
even though this could have gone more swiftly, and even if he had been proven guilty, he would have served, a maximum of half a year. He just ended up staying in a long term, like a long. He ended up staying in solitary confinement a longer than his actual sentence would have been.
Yeah.
So it took 6 months for me to finally, eventually get bail. And when I did, I mean, I was all kinds of messed up. Like, I remember stepping outside and drinking like Coca-Cola and it being really exciting. It's like, wow, it's got bubbles. Oh my god! Or I remember drinking a beer and that being really exciting. And I remember like going to the game center and actually getting sick because of all the noise.
Oh wow.
Walking down the street or riding a bike took a very long time to recondition myself into, being healthy again. So
Wow.
there was a lot of like just disturbances, like being out in public just made me feel ill a lot of the time. So it took a long time and some therapy to recover from that. So
Holy shit.
to put that into a bigger perspective, do you think if I had not gotten bail, that I would have been able to competently defend myself? I mean,
yeah, right.
Do you think I would be able to sit in a courtroom under that additional pressure to speak for myself and defend myself?
They just treat you like you're not even a fucking human, and then you're expected to defend yourself like a human being, Like they treat you like you're a fucking piece of shit animal, and then you're supposed to stand up and say something. Like, whoa, it's unbelievable.
And so yeah, I mean it's but yeah, thankfully we did get the bail. So we essentially the court appointed lawyer, which I had before. These lawyers, that typical lawyer in Japan is not one that wins. I mean, essentially they are made to defend you, give you a minimum level of advice, such as don't sign any papers, and make rational arguments. But essentially, most of the time they're not going to win. I mean, the cases already been sealed. If anything,
just reducing sentences, maybe.
If anything, they'll work with your prosecutor to drop something. I mean, they'll work with your prosecutor to, on a professional level for your benefit. But for the most part, they're getting cooked, and then by that extension, you're screwed. However, the lawyer I received was Mr. Takano Takashi, who is more of quite a competent lawyer in this country. He got his education in the States.
Oh, really?
Him and his team, they learned Western law, and they're very aggressive. They are actual. If you look him up, Mr. Takano Takashi is a very strong adversary to the justice to the Japanese justice system to begin with.
Oh wow.
He's very critical, and a number of his lawyers actually work in Japanese law to change the law, to make a difference in how the law can be interpreted in this country.
So he's like a hero. How did you find this guy?
My father found him after a lot of thorough searching.
Oh wow.
And he ended up being a really great person. So him and the lawyer he assigned specifically to work with me, whose name is Miss Yoshida Kyoko. That's her passing name. She's great, and we're actually still friends.
Oh, okay.
So we actually still talk, and so
nice.
I owe her my life. So and
it's
so
about time we got some good characters in the story.
We took when I was released on bail. It was around Golden Week. It was around this time, it was Golden Week of 2019 when I got released on bail. So having been arrested in October 2018, getting bail in late April or early May of 2019. So that's how long I was away. And then my trial, which had originally been arranged to be in August of 2019, magically gets bumped up to June.
Okay.
The prosecutor suddenly says gets actually upset that I actually got bail, and said, "Well, we should have that trial sooner then, because obviously
giving your team less time to prepare, is that the idea?
Less time to prepare and less time for me to recover.
Hmm.
So we need to like strike now, basically, is what they need to do. They I mean I know that's how they felt.
Yeah.
And so I had to go collect my passport, my cell phone, all my things from the police station. My lawyer and we actually had to consult with the prosecutor to give all that up.
Wow.
And he was not very happy. He kept referring to me as he kept slurring my name. So he wouldn't refer to me as like, you know, Nantoka-san. He would refer to me as like Aniyatsu or like some kind of animal. So that's the way he talked about me.
Yeah.
And then
see, what is the punishment for this type of guy though? Because for putting you through all that shit, it's essentially a crime. Like, it is a crime. He's the fucking crook in this situation. Did he actually get reprimanded for this?
Well, that's not a crime though, because like he's just doing his job. It's not a crime. I mean,
you said you ruined his career. Did you actually?
What?
You said you ruined his career earlier. Did you actually? I hope you did. Did he actually lose his job, or is he like losing case? Like, what happened to this guy? Do you know anything about?
I mean, when you are a part of a losing case like this, I mean, so that it goes down to a number of people who conducted the investigation, the person who decides on the indictment, and then the other prosecutor who actually has to be the person in court, trying to make arguments. So there's at least 3 people all linked together in this process, along with their own team of people that are trying, desperately to win a conviction against me. But yeah, the person who goes down in the face of losing against the 99.9 conviction rate, it's a very very embarrassing situation. Oh, most definitely. I mean, this comes down to like, well, why did we have to waste resources? Who's the one that failed at this interrogation? Who's the one that made that report? Who's the one that then said, "Oh, we need to indict him"? Those people, which are the ones I express my animosity toward, they won't have the chance to have that power again.
Yeah, a couple 100 years ago, this guy would have cut his stomach open, huh?
I would have done it to him, yes, but
you could be the guy who cuts his head off afterwards. Exactly, yeah.
But you're right. In the face of things, I was sort of expecting: do I get like an apology? Do I get like, this is Japan? Do I get a formal hands on knees apology?
Yeah, right.
And the answer is no. No, you don't. Because I can guarantee you that those people that took me to court, that whole team of people, they probably still think that I got away with it.
Wow, yeah.
Or got away with what? I don't even know anymore. But I mean, they must have felt a level of passion to be doing that level of job, doing that kind of job. They must have felt like almost passionate that they were trying to bring me to justice.
Well, at the same time,
it's very surreal, but like.
At the same time, I think in all Japanese companies or anything like that, there's one leader, and then the group does not question that leader because he's your superior. And so even if they had other opinions, they all sort of melt down into one thing. Like, that's how, the Nintendo Wii U, like, that was a decent idea, but the marketing was so bad, and it could have been done so much better. But it was a huge failure because I think that's part of it. Nobody really questioned it, and everybody just went along with it. Because if you're not in a high position in whatever company or group, you're not going to be able to express your opinion.
I've said this before about other products too. Yeah, I mean, I agree. There was a game that Square Enix released called like the Final Fantasy Origins, or I don't know if you saw the trailer. It was pretty embarrassing. It was just I think they had like Limp Bizkit in the trailer, and they had like they kept saying like we're here to kill chaos. We're here to kill the demon called chaos. Let's go kill chaos.
It's just as lame as
Later.
possible.
It really is some of the most bogus thing. It's one of the most bogus things I've ever seen. And watching that trailer, which I think was played at Tokyo Game Show, it's like, how did they not feel embarrassed, like, making that trailer? How did they not feel embarrassed? Like, how did that get produced?
Yeah, it's just
And
so
like,
inbred.
Because somebody with a level of authority thought he had a good idea, and kept pushing it and got the funding for it, and then everyone else below him who maybe knew better didn't really want to question it, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And that these are how bad products get produced, and this absolutely is how things get produced. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to a certain level, I mean, to a certain degree, that happens everywhere. You don't want to really mess with your boss too much in a company, but I think in America, at least, you're more encouraged to contribute what you think. Right, so that just doesn't happen in Japan for the most part. So maybe this case, like, you felt like they were passionately trying to get you, but maybe a lot of those people were just doing their job and just following the boss, right?
Well, and that's where the blame and the shame get placed on the person who was, the person who originally was interrogating me and pushed forward that report, and then the person who indicted me. They're the ones that essentially are in trouble, and they won't be trusted with that level of authority again. They essentially they became the 0.01% that failed. And that's a horrible thing to have on your record. It's very embarrassing.
Yeah. And he's too pussy to cut his stomach open, but he really should.
Or apologize to me. Apparently.
It'd be the best thing he's ever done in his life. He cut his stomach open.
I was thinking of sending like a glitter bomb to the Chiba City prosecutor's office at one point, but I never got around to it. I wanted to like address it to him, and it's just going to be like a glitter bomb and, fuck up his desk or something, but and I think that'd be really cool.
And then he'd have reason to bring you back into the office. We're gonna get this guy this time. Redemption.
But no, then but yeah. As I said, we did win the trial, and because there was a number of things. There was a number of very useful things my lawyer brought up, and I worked on my own case as well. I got brought. My lawyer said, come into the law office, and I was in the law office. He gave me the footage of, said, remember this video. Remember I sent you what I told you about the video. I said, I didn't say meth. I said things that might be illegal in Japan, but are legal in America. Said, yeah, you see, I need you to take this footage and edit it together.
Oh, wow.
And write the script and then subtitle it. And then when he tries to bring up that report against you in court, we play the fucking video. And then
was there a jury? Is the trial like an American trial, basically?
No, they have lay judges.
Okay.
So lay judges are a trial will be composed of lay judges or multiple judges.
Okay.
So
and then so that's what you did. You played that video and it convinced the lay judges.
Yeah, and then there was other things they tried to bring up, like, well, you wanted money, and it's like, I have one of the most expensive lawyers in the country. I have money.
Yeah.
So, sorry. And then there's like, well, you were nervous when you picked up that package at the post office. You were nervous. Yeah, you knew you were doing something wrong. And then said, do we have camera footage of him there? And we do. I'm like, all right, show us. And then it's like, there's a picture of me like accepting the package, and I'm like taking a big smile on my face.
Really?
I'm saying, oh, thank you very much. Or like, oh, I promise. And like, yep. They have a photo of me with a big smile on my face, and then like, and they have a picture. They have a photo of me like in line, and I see who he's talking to. He's talking to his friend. He's talking about like he's up to no good on his phone, and they're like, zoom in on the phone, and they zoom in on the phone, like I'm playing like Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of like
that's insane. Like, oh, look at him standing in line using his smartphone. Oh my god. Who does that?
It got really. There's a lot of desperation that was happening in the trial. There's like a lot of like long, awkward like pauses, and the biggest one that was one of the better ones was like, I'm like Mexican American. Like, I'm Mexican American, and they're like, like a lot of drugs, meth, come from Mexico. And I'd say, okay.
So there you go.
I
But
was
you
like, oh
said,
man, are you serious?
but hold on. You
Are
said
you
there was no
serious?
connection. You said there was no connection to your race, and there you go.
Uh, that was like the complete like desperate cause, and
Yeah, but at the same, so they brought that up as a desperate thing, but at the
yeah,
same time, it could have been one of the first things that put that like passionate seed in his mind that he felt like you had to be guilty.
but I mean, the very simple argument is they're like, well, I'm American, and like it's like you're not. I'm American. Like it's not something like I'm going to be bringing drugs into Mexico. It isn't it. It's the opposite sort of thing. It's
Yeah,
been dramatized in TV dramas like Breaking Bad.
yeah.
And
I'm not saying the guy's very smart. I'm just saying like because maybe even if your last name or whatever, because of something like that, he could have gotten real gun pro
racial
about it to
profiling.
begin with.
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I kind of get it, but that was like such. That's like really low hanging fruit, man. I thought that was I was like baffled, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
is that like all you got? Like, is that
It's
all you
like a
got?
joke. It really is like a joke, but
And
it's
I was
not a
like,
joke because it was fucking 6 months in solitary. That's why it's not a joke.
no, man, it's fucked up, yeah. So
It's insane that like these people, that's all they had.
yeah.
Oh my god. It's like you want to laugh, but you can't, you know? It's just such an absurd situation.
Mm. But yeah, shout out to the lawyer again. You can find him actually at tacanolaw.jp. So he's got a website actually in English as well. So if you ever have any friends that do get in trouble, you're welcome to consult me, or you can also talk to my lawyer. But and a very enlightening experience though. I mean, I did learn a lot about myself. I did learn a lot about um, Japanese law. I'm not really scared of policemen like I used to be here at all. I think I know exactly how to handle situations and
Hmm.
like this. Inevitably, yeah, no, it's very sad to have lost 6 months of my life, which I'll never get back. And yes, it did take another half year to finally receive um, the settlement. I mean, they owed me for a number of damages, which included
Hmm.
like money I would have made from my salary. Uh, all the time I did spend in solitary confinement, they paid me for that. They paid for my legal fees. I basically got a very large package, which then my lawyer said, well, this is revenge. But I'm like, well, no amount of money is enough for me to feel any amount of any amount of actual justice was upheld. Uh,
Yeah, but that is a really positive outlook that you can look back and think, okay, it was a learning experience. I came out of it stronger, better, smarter, and yeah, because I said earlier, if it happened to me, I think I would have said, "Fuck this country, I'm done. I'm going back to
no, no,
America."
no.
So why did you not feel that way?
I don't feel that way. I felt like pretty inspired by my lawyer in that. I don't know how much I can do personally. I mean, a lot of people have told me otherwise, but I mean, like, when there's problems in this country, you've met the types of people that say like, well, if you don't like it, then just go home or some bullshit like that. But
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
no, I'm not gonna do that. I mean, if I wanna keep making a good example and telling this story and maybe helping people by extension, I'm gonna stay here. And no, I love Japan. Like, but
Oh, oh, it
that
got all laggy for a second.
I
You
do
love
think that
Japan, and
this kind of thing.
so it
But
just got cut off.
I love Japan, and yeah. So I mean, as I said, I love Japan, and like, I do think that this could have happened to very well, it could have happened to a Japanese person too, and it probably does. Um, just because it happened to me and I'm a foreigner doesn't make it special and doesn't give me this entitlement to suddenly leave. I don't think that's not what I feel. I feel that it's more important to keep telling people about what happened to me.
Well, I'm not saying it from like I would leave from the perspective of like being targeted as a foreigner or anything like that. I would feel like leaving because the system screwed me over so badly that I would just feel spiteful, I think, and bitter about the country and how, because it's such a stupid scenario. It's just such a stupid situation. All their arguments were fucking stupid. They had nothing. It was a fucking joke, and then you had to pay for it. And just like thinking about that, I don't know if I could deal with that. I don't know if I could deal with being here in a place that allows such absurdity to just go on and ruin people's lives.
It is morbid to think about, like, you know, whenever you walk by a police station, there might be people being held down in the basement. Like I was. It is morbid to think about that. There very well could be people like you and me who unfortunately were just kind of a victim of circumstance. And a lot of them, I mean, 99.9% of them don't win those trials.
Yeah.
Right? And like that's very upsetting to think about, isn't it?
You're the 0.1%.
So I was the 0.01%. So
yeah. That's insane.
So
I guess you gotta consider yourself pretty lucky then, I guess.
Lucky in the sense that, well, yes, I mean, things came together though. I mean, like I'm thankful that I did speak the language. I'm thankful that I did have a good base of friends and family that I ended up having one of the best lawyers in the country, and that, yes, I do think that we had 3 very open-minded judges who weren't immediately going to dismiss this guy's a foreigner, he's a scumbag. They didn't think that way. They actually felt more like, okay, what is the argument? And that's
true. That's true, because if it's just down to judges, they could have been in on it with they could have been the same kind of personality type as the prosecutor, right?
Very much so. Yes, very much.
Yeah. So that's fortunate, because if it's not a jury, you don't know if you're getting a fair trial.
3 judges listening, and maybe they hear cases like this, and they make the conclusion that, yeah, if this foreign guy, he's up to no good, I don't even care about the rest of the arguments.
Yeah, there's no guarantee you're getting a fair trial.
I mean, that could have been the case.
Yeah.
And also the fact that it is unnerving that, yes, the prosecutor is the one that's always in communication with the judge, and everything that gets approved goes through the judge. So those 6 months that they kept extending for me in jail, that was the judge's decision made by extension for the proposition of the prosecutor. So, I mean, the whole time, during the whole process, unfortunately, yeah, everyone is against you. Everyone's against you except your lawyer.
That guy's a hero.
And even then, maybe you might not have a competent lawyer.
That guy's a hero. You gotta get that guy.
Yeah, look him up. He's good. He's very good.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. I'm glad there was somebody like him out there to come in for you when you needed him.
But now it's been several years now. It's 2023, so.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about this story like when it happened.
It's been like 5 years now, so yeah. So.
And I've just been following you mostly on Instagram ever since, and we're sort of like in the same circle of the internet, kind of, but haven't really talked before now. And it just occurred to me, like, hey, I want to talk to this guy more. I want to learn more about this story. So I'm glad I was able to talk to you, because that's kind of insane, and the details are really good. It was a lot more complicated than I thought.
There's a lot of information, like those case files I get sent. I mean, there's a lot of information that I don't understand. I don't know. I know that other people were arrested. I know that there was some other kind of smuggling attempts going on, and there was this ring of people, other friends. But I think even Sergio, the guy who stayed with me, his girlfriend got taken in for questioning.
Oh wow!
I mean, but I don't know what came as a result of that, or like where all that went. I guess I'll never know. So what actually happened outside of my own case? I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah.
So.
And you never contacted Sergio after this all happened, right?
I haven't talked. I know that guy Edgar, the guy above him. I know that he's in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, he got arrested. He's in prison. Sergio himself got arrested as well. but I don't know where he is. I don't know. I don't know if this means prison in Japan, prison in where they're from, but
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't heard anything. All I know is, out of curiosity, my lawyer contacted that lawyer, and I know that, yeah, someone went to prison, basically. So someone finally, like, but
Yeah. And you said earlier that you were fortunate that you understood the language, which I think is actually more impressive if you live in Tokyo, because there's so much English there, and there's so many foreigners there, and there are always tourists there. So if you go out to drink, it's very easy to just stay in the kind of gaijin sphere and never actually learn Japanese. How did you end up actually learning Japanese while you're living in the most international city in Japan?
oh no, I mean, I have a lot of Japanese friends too. I guess I have my little network of foreign friends, but then I have my Japanese otaku friends that I hang out with out in Akihabara. And then in the past, I mean, I've dated girls who didn't speak any English, and it's worked out just with my own dedication to learn more. And then on top of that, playing a lot of like games in Japanese, and
Yeah, do you play RPGs and stuff too?
yeah. So
All right, that's yeah.
it's been
A lot of guys who play.
Hmm?
I was just gonna say that a lot of guys who play Japanese games, they sort of tend to stick to the shooters, the fighting games, the side scrollers, that type of thing, because you can't read Japanese.
I know. I mean, I think playing like Pokemon or Dragon Quest in Japanese is really cool. Yeah.
Pokemon, not so much.
Well,
But
you have a
Dragon
menu
Quest, yeah.
thing, so you're gonna consistently see these menus of data that you memorize.
Yeah, well, the difference between Pokemon and Dragon Quest is that Dragon Quest actually has interesting, fun dialogue to read. But Pokemon
Pokemon's a
dialogue
little bit
is
too
just...
repetitive, isn't it?
Yeah, you walk up to someone, they're like, I have the strongest Pokemon in this area. My Pokemon is a fish.
All right, bad example. I mean
Something like that.
RPGs, yeah, RPGs and shit.
Yeah, no. I played Dragon Quest 11.
Oh, that was amazing. Oh my god, that was
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my god, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I never played the post game though. I stopped when I beat the first last boss.
Dude, the post game is like an extra 20 hours, dude. Like,
So I should go back to it.
and the post game is like even longer. Like that's actually not the real last boss you fought.
Really? I guess I should go back to it. I just got kind of bored because when you get to that point, your team is kind of OP, and all of your attacks are like, AOE, like just kill all the enemies on the field type attacks. So it just seemed like, I don't know. The combat got kind of boring.
The game's not over yet. You still have like a lot more content in there. Oh no! You gotta play the epilogue, because the epilogue is
I tend to do that. I tend to do that though. I tend to do that. Like I got to the last boss of Persona 4, and I just like stopped playing.
What?
I think it's the real last boss, because after you go through the little quiz, then you find out all that. Yeah, I got to the real last boss, and then I just stopped because I was like, I'm kind of over it. I don't know.
I played through Persona 5, and it took like 160 hours, man. Like,
I'm playing that now.
Yeah, I got like Persona 5 Royal on the Switch, and like, yeah, that's why I was only getting long. But yeah,
wait, what? Royal's on Switch?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they released it for Switch. What the hell? I thought they only put Shuffle on the Switch.
It's right here.
Holy crap. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I got it for... Dude, if I had it on the Switch... If I had it on the Switch, I would play it so much more. I have it on the PS4, so, like, I can always play it.
It was great. So,
yeah. Damn.
I played through Persona 5, like, in, like, 2000, like when it came out. I guess that was 2017 or something. And then, yeah, I never played Royal until, like, right now, when it just came out on the Switch, like...
Yeah, okay. It's sweet, though. I'm loving it. But I don't play it that much because I'm addicted to Magic the Gathering, so that's all I do. It's a problem. But I'm planning on quitting after April.
I'm playing Breath of the Wild right now, so I just started this.
I never finished that either. Yeah, I stopped because there's this one island. I don't know if you've gone to it, but you go to the island and then you're stripped of all your gear and you're naked.
Okay.
And then you have to like complete the island, then you can go back into your gear and stuff. And I just like couldn't beat that island. It was so difficult for me to get through that island. And then I was like too focused on that So after I decided I couldn't beat it, I just like stopped playing the game, even though it's not a necessary thing. You don't have to do that, Alan. It's like an extra little mini game type thing.
Oh,
But I just got stuck there, and I just didn't. I never continued.
how sad. Like, well,
That's how I am though. I don't really feel like I have to finish games. I just play it. If I played Breath of the Wild for like I don't know 10 hours total, and I enjoyed those 10 hours, I already got enough entertainment out of it to warrant having bought the game, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like 10 hours entertainment for like the $50 or whatever I spent on it. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good rate.
um, but nowadays a lot of these games are like 100 hours, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm just not gonna play through all that.
Like Persona 5, I went like Royal was like 100. Like, well, I got everything in the game, so I'm kind of a freak. But if I just been playing it from start to finish, I guess it would be a lot less than that, like maybe more.
Yeah, I definitely don't try to get everything.
But I got like everything in the game, so.
I like the batting center.
I'm terrible at it. Yeah, I'm terrible.
It's fun though. It's a nice feature. That game is so cool. That game's really cool. I like how it went from in Persona 4 you were in the countryside, and so you had limited options of places where you could go. And then for the next game they were like, we're gonna put you right into Tokyo, and then you can actually explore all these different shops, and it really feels like you're in a big city. It's really cool.
The Persona 4 is just a food court.
Yeah.
It's a food court. Imagine that. Imagine being your everyday thing to do with your friends. You're just like, well,
that's kind of what it was.
We're gonna get like beefsteak at like Junes.
That's kind of what it was for me when I was in middle school, because I lived in I'm from Boston, but it's like a smaller city near Boston, right? So in our little neighborhood, all we had was the mall.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you had, right? So that's what I would do. I was growing up in suburban San Antonio, and just like, yeah, your mom drops you off at the mall, and you go to the arcade, and I guess then you swing by and get some Chick-fil-A and
dude, you had an arcade? That's crazy. We didn't have an arcade.
You go by Hot Topic and maybe you find a cool T-shirt. And
yeah,
that's what being 14 years old was.
Yeah, so Persona 4 very realistic. No.
But no, I mean, there's a lot to take away from this interview. Hopefully, it helps someone else. I've had actually people reach out to me on Instagram before saying like I'm going through, or one of my friends is going through a similar situation, or I might be in legal trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you can just tell me that I might have to prepare for, or anything I should do if I'm arrested and whatnot? And
yeah.
And essentially these interviews, I feel like they should be helpful for people too if you ever are placed in a very bad situation like this.
Well, I think it's super helpful, not only for people who are specifically going through a situation like this, but to spread awareness of how the justice system is structured in Japan and how you can get yourself into deep shit if you're not careful. So it's good to be careful and be aware of this possibility. And also for people who are not in Japan, who are thinking about moving to Japan, because all you ever hear about this country is the positive stuff. Like, nobody ever says anything really bad about this place, except maybe that people are depressed and jump off buildings. But
yeah, there's a lot of problems here.
Yeah, but for the most part, what do you hear about? You hear about, like, the anime, the video games, everything is so clean, the ramen, the food is so cheap and delicious, and you can get all you can drink for like $10, and it's just a great party city, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that's true, but I mean it comes out of expensive also, like mental health, mental welfare, and a lot of people in the big city like this, like in Tokyo, are not nice. A lot of people are pretty.
Dude, Tokyo's fucked. Like, I don't know why all you guys live in Tokyo. I've been to Tokyo recently, and then I've also been to Osaka recently, and it's just night and day. Like, Osaka's just so much better. I don't know.
Probably people are a little bit more laid back.
Yeah, they're laid back. They're friendly. They're chill. Like, they feel more open. It feels more like being in even a Western country.
People here are very uptight, and all people come here for money. And so
Yeah.
I think the initial mistake that a lot of people make is that Japanese people are so nice, but I'm like, well, there's a difference between being polite and like offering a level of good service and being genuine. I mean, and we talk about that, like that tatamae hone. I mean, people always want to put up a very professional face, especially in Tokyo. But actually making genuine friends can be pretty difficult.
It can be very difficult, and sometimes they just disappear.
Mm.
Like I had a dude ghost me. I don't even know if he ghosted me or he straight up killed himself, but I have no way to really contact him. So my best friend out here just disappeared one day.
Maybe get arrested. Oh.
Nah, it wouldn't have been. Well, who knows?
Yeah, that is also the thing. When you get arrested, you pretty much just disappear because they don't want any kind of outside interference with what they have.
But yeah, when you said about being nice, it reminds me of what people say about the East Coast and the West Coast of America. Like in New York, people are not nice, but they are kind.
Oh.
So, and in Boston too, it's the same way. You've heard the term massholes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like people in Boston are very kind of loud, obnoxious. They're in your face. Like they will be quick to jump to some kind of confrontational situation. They're like, "Hey, buddy, the fuck you doing? Where you walking? Watch what that kind of shit." But when it comes down to it, they are more real. So they're more like authentic. You can actually, I think you can. They're kinder in general. But when you're in LA, people will be very kind of chill and nice up front, but they're really fake, and you can't fucking trust those people.
Well, yeah. So I guess that's Tokyo. Yeah, it's over here. It's more of a fashion show or a place where you want to show off.
Yeah,
hopefully
the culture feels more LA for sure.
Hopefully obtain some of that wealth, but otherwise it's like, yeah, how do I want to be friends with you? Or like, well, you meet some people. You will make friends, but
yeah, I mean, there's tons of people there.
It's not going to be as easy as you think. But
it's always tougher to make friends the bigger the city it is, right? Like I used to live in Hakodate for a year.
Oh yeah.
Which is a really small town, like 300,000 people. Well, I guess it's not that small. It's the second biggest city in Hokkaido. But it feels like a really small town. And so when you meet people, it's like the Ichigo Ichiya thing actually applies. There's a Japanese expression that means like every encounter is special. Appreciate every meeting with somebody because it's unique, right? And I think that is totally lost in the big cities. Especially Tokyo.
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
But when you're in small countryside, people actually do appreciate meeting new people, and it's a lot easier to just make friends. It just happens automatically. You don't even have to try at all. Like everybody you meet becomes your friend.
Hold on 1 second. Let's get that phone. But as I repeat again, I mean, I love Japan. I think I like Japan a bunch. There's a lot of reasons for me to stay here, even though what happened to me was terrible. And it is something that will probably stay on me forever. But I mean, there's these trials we all have in life that I think we all need to experience. Not that I wish anything like that happens to anybody that I know, but it's kind of a point that I proved to myself. I used to suffer from some depression, or I would get sad about very trivial things. But after that experience, no, actually, I feel pretty confident in myself, and like I don't suffer from any kind of like boo-hoo. Something didn't go right in my day, or something didn't go right in my week, or so and so doesn't like me. I don't feel that way at all anymore. I have this new level of confidence or self assurance.
Yeah, it's a really good outcome.
Yeah. My relationship with some other people changed too. I mean, there was some people in my neighborhood that essentially thought that I did it, or that I actually was up to no good, and then there was people that were completely behind me, 100%. So,
were you able to keep your job too?
I was offered to come back to my job, but I decided not to. I decided to take some time off.
Okay.
And later, my lawyer actually asked me to come work for him very briefly, and then later, I got the current job I'm at now, and which I've kept for the past 3 years. I've been enjoying myself. So
Okay, sweet. It's nice that they offered to get your job back as well. That's really cool.
yeah, well, not guilty's not guilty for one, and then on top of that, I mean, you can also receive a formal document from the court or your lawyer that says basically the prosecutor made a mistake, and there was actually no reason that you had to go through any of that. So I think the judge actually wrote something out that said like this should have never gone to court, and he's not a fault at all. And so there is a formal document that I have around here somewhere that says that. So say for example, if anyone ever digs this up and says like, oh wait a minute, you went to jail, oh no, and they want to somehow shame me. Well,
yeah,
no, I mean I didn't do anything wrong though.
Yeah.
So I think we have this image or this idea that Japanese people are going to shame you, like even if you are just by association, but it doesn't have to be that way. I don't think it has to be that way, and I think legally as well, it can't be that way.
Yeah.
No. So.
Man, yeah, it's good to hear the story though. It starts off pretty bleak, but it ends with a kind of glimmer of hope. You know, that this country is actually fairly reasonable, even if they treat people like dogs.
Well, I mean, you still have people. I mean, you have people like my lawyer and his team that are working to change the system from the inside, though.
Yeah, first, I think they gotta remove those neck chains. That'd be a good start.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I mean, a little bit more on that is like they would put you like in this, what is it, this jacket, which then they would put like either like this chained rope around your body that went
like a straight jacket.
It's a jacket that they put the rope through, and so it keeps your body like like this.
Yeah, like stiff. Yeah, that's a straight jacket, right? That's crazy.
The cuffs go here, and then there's like a thing that they can pull you on the neck. And then, if there's multiple prisoners that they're trying to transport, say if you're going to go to the prosecutor's office, they kind of chain you all together in like a line.
Yeah.
And then you all get like pulled together.
Yeah, I mean, if they were gonna change anything, that'd be a good place to start. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
So, and you're just forced to sit and wait, and even without an official like Even with in this situation where you don't know if it's going to court or not, you're just a person. You're meant to feel like you're being treated like a dog, even though nothing's been proven, or there's been no conviction. You suffer.
That is like a mindfuck, yeah, because you did nothing wrong, but you're in that situation.
So it makes you feel fucked up, and then on top of that, nobody was believing me. Even that court appointed lawyer wasn't believing me. So
because of the 99% conviction rate, like they just assume that if you're in this situation, you're guilty, right?
But what that says is that you're putting more faith in the judgment of the prosecutor, or you're putting faith in the judgment of the prosecutor like completely.
Yeah.
Where I feel that these people are complete scumbags. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry if there's any prosecutors listening. But
you don't have to pull any punches.
Yeah. I'm not complying with it. No, I guess I have this bias now against any. If I ever meet any Japanese prosecutors, at a bar, I'm just gonna say fuck you.
Go fuck yourself.
I probably would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would too. But anyway, I guess we should wrap this up.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Talking.
I want to visit Hokkaido. If I come by, let's get some beers.
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. And next time I'm in Tokyo, I'll definitely hit you up.
Yeah, I'm here. I live in Taidoku, like around the Asakusa area. So it's always.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually where I was staying in Tokyo, because I went there to watch the sumo in January.
Oh, and you're like Rogoku, right?
Yeah.
Right next door.
No, my hotel was in Asakusa though. So that's a cool area though. It's really close to everything.
Yeah, it's right next to Akihabara and Ueno. So that's where I usually hang out.
Akihabara is really fun.
But
it's just the center of degeneracy for the entire world, I feel.
Been living here for straight 12 years. Yeah.
12.
Yeah, 12 years in the Sox. So.
Damn. I've been in Japan for like 5.5 years total, and I've lived in Fukuoka, Hachioji, Tokyo, Hakodate, and Sapporo. So I've been all over the place.
Oh, that's nice. I need to get out of Tokyo, man.
Yeah.
I need to leave.
Should probably. All right. Next time you come to Hokkaido, we'll try to get you a Hokkaido girl, and maybe you could start a. You'll have reason to come out here.
Hokkaido, man.
Yeah, you can live in the countryside. You can have a little you can have some sheep.
That'd be nice. At this point in my life, that'd be nice. Yeah.
That's literally what I'm thinking of. I think I'm tired of the big cities because even Sapporo, compared to Tokyo, obviously it's a very small town, but it still just feels like there's so much stimulus everywhere all the time, and I just want to have like a wife and like 7 children on a farm. And Hokkaido's a good place to do it. Kyushu might be better though, just because it's warm. But then they've got those killer bees over there. They got the Suzumebashi. So, pros and cons.
No, I think I'm definitely, at my age, I think I'm definitely done with the Tokyo hipster lifestyle. I mean, like, I don't, aside from going to Akihabara, I mean, I don't do too much partying these days. And I work at home, so I could work anywhere in the country at this point, so.
Oh, that's sick. Okay. I didn't know you work from home. Yeah. You should definitely try, like, traveling around a bit then.
Yeah.
I definitely would recommend Fukuoka if you don't mind. Well, you don't mind the heat because you've been in Tokyo for 12 years.
No. So, yeah. But no, I thought about this. I could probably, like, travel and work, you know, if I want to, so.
Yeah.
As an option.
Fukuoka's an awesome city. I think Fukuoka might be the best city I've been to in Japan. It's just so cool. People are so friendly, and the design of the city, I think, lends itself to just having pleasant interactions and meeting new people. Like if you compare it to Sapporo, they're very similarly sized, but the big park in Sapporo is like Central Park in New York. It's like a very long strip. Whereas the big the big park in Fukuoka has a big lake in the middle, and it's circular around the lake, and also there's a whole Hanami area there, and also outside the big train stations in Fukuoka, they have these circular, almost like Greek amphitheater type seating. So people just hang out there and drink outside, and because it's circular, there's no road, there's nowhere to go, and so people just gather there, and they're very open to talking, and they're there because they want to meet new people, and there's nowhere like that in my city right now, and that's what I miss about Fukuoka. It's a really cool city. It just feels like it was designed with a social intention.
Yeah, it's quite rare. I mean, even in big cities, everything's separated by table to table. I mean, like when you go to a bar or izakaya here, people sit their own circles. You can't like unless it's like one of those tachinomis, like the standing bars. But even then, it's like people still have their own little circles, their own little groups. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like an unwritten rule that you can't go up and be like, hey.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
because you don't want to bother people, you know. Yeah. Yeah. And it's free because it's just outside.
Yeah. It's outside, right?
Yeah, that's a cool city. I want to visit there again. The only problem for me is the rain and the heat.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a problem here too. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's why I moved here. That's why I went as far north as possible.
Must be nice.
The summer here, there's no tsuyu. There's no rainy season.
Oh, really? That's good.
At all, yeah. It doesn't exist. And then the summer is just like, it's hot, but it's fine. And
it's not like Mushiatsui or anything.
It can get there. In recent years, it's been getting hotter, but it's not like Fukuoka bad. It's not Kyushu bad. It's not Tokyo bad. Tokyo's miserable. Tokyo's really miserable.
I don't go outside. Yeah, I don't go outside in Tokyo during the summer.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, never mind.
Exactly.
I don't go outside. I don't go outside in Tokyo like hardly ever these days. It's like, well, now it's like the allergy season. So.
Yeah, it's also takes a long time to go anywhere. The train system, you got the what do you call them? The Tokyu trains.
Yeah, the private lines, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they got a whole bunch of different types of trains. You got to make sure you get on the right train. It's like over here, it's just you get on the fucking green train, it's gonna go to the same place every time at the same speed.
You just have to have the regular metro, then,
yeah. Yeah.
That's it. So it's like every other place in the country. And Tokyo's just special.
Yeah. Every time I go to Tokyo, I make at least one mistake with the trains, and I almost missed my flight last time because I got on the wrong type of train. Yeah. But anyhow, really great talking to you. I'm glad that it seems like you were able to take a lot of positive things out of your ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it was obviously really terrible to go through, I'm glad that you came out of it stronger than before,
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm fine now. It's not. I get a little bit angry sometimes when I think about that prosecutor that indicted me, but or those interviews. But like you said, there's a lot of positive things that came out of it. So I think I'm a better person.
Yeah, I don't think that kind of when you are wronged that badly, I think it's difficult to eliminate the anger entirely.
Well,
unless you were able to like punch him in the face and unless you were able to get actual revenge. It's very hard to overcome those feelings.
Yeah, it's not the closure. It feels like it feels kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
So I never got an apology, or I never got 5 minutes in a room of it.
You should be legally allowed to kick him in the nuts a couple times, I think. Oh man. But all right, yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, I better go myself.
It's really cool.
Some lunch. I'm getting hungry now. So.
Yeah, me too. All right.
Well, we'll stay in touch. I'm love to talk anytime. Maybe you'll get some feedback from this. So, and let me know when you edit it or something. I can share it around too.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
All right then.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Peace out.